Have you ever felt held back by a belief that you are just not smart enough or talented enough? That feeling is common, but it is not a final sentence. There is another way to think about your talents and abilities. A growth mindset is a way of seeing challenges and learning as parts of life. It is not a trick. It is a choice you can practice and improve. Welcome to BetterSelf, the channel where we help you grow as a person while improving your English. We talk about habits, mindset, and skills in clear, simple language so you can listen, understand, and practice both ideas and language at the same time. In this video, we will explore how to build a growth mindset. You will learn what it is, why it matters, and how to change your inner story. We will use examples and short exercises so you can try these ideas for yourself. Each chapter is like a small lesson. You can pause the video, think, and practice. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and practice. It is the idea that you are not stuck with a fixed level of talent. Instead, you can grow, change, and improve over time. This belief changes how you face challenges, how you respond to mistakes, and how you learn from feedback. Imagine two people taking the same difficult test. One says, "I'm just not good at this subject," and avoids trying again. The other says, "I didn't do well yet. I can try new strategies and get better." The first person shows a fixed mindset. The second person shows a growth mindset. The difference is not a secret talent. It is the way they think about learning. A simple example helps. Think of learning to ride a bike. At first it is hard. You fall, you wobble, you feel scared. If you think, "I will never be able to ride," you are likely to stop trying. But if you think, "I can learn by practicing, and each attempt will teach me something," you will try again, and soon you will ride. The progress comes from practice and from learning from mistakes. That feeling of getting better builds confidence. That is the engine of a growth mindset. Real people who have used a growth mindset to change their lives. Take J.K. Rowling. She faced many rejections before Harry Potter was published. She did not believe that rejection meant she had no talent. She kept revising and submitting her work. Or think of Michael Jordan. Cut from his high school basketball team, he used that failure to practice harder and become one of the greatest players ever. These stories show not that success comes easy, but that resilience and learning matter more than initial success. Growth mindset affects not only big goals but everyday life. You can use it at work with a new project, in relationships when you have a tough conversation, or in learning English when you mix up words. It helps you stay curious and open, instead of closed and discouraged. Here is a small practice you can try now. Think of a recent failure or setback. Do not rush. Bring it to mind clearly. Now write down the words you used to describe that event. Did you say, "I failed because I'm not good at this"? Or did you say, "I need to learn different skills"? If your words lean toward permanence and self-blame, try adding the word "yet." Turn "I can't do this" into "I can't do this yet." This tiny change is more than grammar. It shifts how your mind frames the situation. It opens a door to action. A growth mindset does not mean you ignore your limits or pretend effort is the only thing that matters. It means you accept both challenge and time. It means careful practice, smart strategies, and patience. It is a long-term view that says, learning is a process, and setbacks are part of that process. When you view life this way, you free yourself from fear of failure and invite steady progress. In the next chapter, we will look at what happens in the brain and why growth is truly possible. Understanding the science will help you feel more confident about changing your beliefs. Chapter 2. The biology and beliefs behind it. Many people think that intelligence is fixed, like your eye color. But the brain is not static. It changes with experience. This quality is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means your brain can form new connections and strengthen existing ones when you learn or practice. Think of your brain like a path in the grass. The more you walk the path, the clearer it becomes. The less you walk it, the more grass grows back. Every time you practice a skill, your brain repeats certain patterns. These patterns become stronger and easier to use. That is how learning happens. Simple science helps explain why a growth mindset makes sense. When we try something new, our brain cells communicate in a new way. Repeating the action makes that communication more efficient. Over time, a task that felt hard becomes easier. That change is not magic. It is biology. Muscles do not grow stronger without exercising them. The brain works the same way. With practice, neural pathways become stronger and more efficient. The beliefs you hold about your abilities guide how much effort you put in. If you believe that your brain can grow, you are more likely to practice and seek new learning opportunities. That behavior deepens the neural changes. In other words, believing in growth changes your actions, and your actions change your brain. It is a feedback loop. The more you invest in learning, the more your capacity expands. Here is a practical way to feel this process in your life. Choose one small skill you want to improve, perhaps vocabulary in English, the ability to hold a conversation, or a simple technical skill at work. Decide to practice 15 minutes a day for 4 weeks. Keep a short journal of what you did and one specific change you noticed each week. By the end of 4 weeks, you will likely see small, meaningful improvements. Those small improvements are the brain rewiring. They are the proof that practice works. Many researchers have studied this idea. Carol Dweck's work on mindsets shows that students who believe intelligence can grow do better over time. Other studies show that deliberate practice with feedback and intentional effort, leads to real skill changes. The key words here are deliberate and intentional. Mindless repetition is not enough. You must push slightly beyond your comfort zone and use feedback to correct mistakes. An analogy can help. Imagine you are learning to cook. Reading a recipe once is like hearing a new idea. Cooking the same dish many times, trying a new technique, tasting and adjusting is like deliberate practice. Each attempt gives you feedback. You learn to season better, to control heat, to time the steps. Over time, you become a confident cook. The brain is building the recipe into its memory. Beliefs also shape emotions. If you think failure is a reflection of your identity, you will feel shame and may avoid challenges. If you see failure as useful information, you feel curiosity and are more likely to try again. This emotional difference changes behavior and, again, brain wiring. Emotions guide attention and memory. When you feel curious and engaged, your brain is more likely to learn and remember. Start a small experiment today. For the next week, notice your self-talk when you face a difficult task. Whenever you say I can't, pause and add yet. Notice if that small change affects what you try and how long you persist. Also, notice the feelings that come with each version of your self-talk. Does one feel more open and energized? Use that awareness to guide your choices. Understanding the biology makes the growth mindset more trustworthy. It shows that change is not just motivational talk. It is real, observable, and built into how the brain learns. With the right practices, focused effort, feedback, and patience, you can change your abilities over time. In the next chapter, we will look at specific steps to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset and how to rewrite the inner story you tell yourself. Chapter 3. From Fixed to Growth, Changing Your Inner Story. Changing your mindset often begins with one simple but powerful idea. The stories you tell yourself shape what you do next. If your inner story says, I'm not creative, you stop trying creative tasks. If your inner story says, I can learn to be creative, you experiment, practice, and grow. Moving from a fix to a growth mindset is about rewriting that inner narrative. It is not a one-time event. It is a steady practice of noticing, questioning, and choosing new words and actions. Start by listening. For a few days, notice the sentences you say in your head about your abilities. Do you use permanent words like always and never? Do you define yourself by a single result? Common examples are I'm bad at public speaking, or I will never understand math. Writing these thoughts down helps. Keep a small notebook and record 1 or 2 thoughts each day that feel limiting. Seeing them on paper makes them easier to change. Next, question those thoughts. Ask, what evidence supports this thought? What evidence contradicts it? Often you will find that the thought is a generalization based on a single moment or a past experience. For example, if you struggled with a presentation once, that does not prove you will always struggle. Maybe you had poor preparation, or you were tired, or you did not know your material well. Looking for specific causes opens the door to solutions. After questioning, reframe the thought into a growth version. Add words like yet or with practice. Turn I'm not good at this into I'm not good at this yet, but I can improve with practice. Reframing is not pretending. It is choosing a more useful way to interpret events. The goal is to move from judgment to curiosity. What can I learn from this? When you choose curiosity, your brain moves into learning mode. A practical step here is to create a short personal motto that supports growth. Keep it simple and true. Examples: practice builds skill, I grow through effort, or mistakes are feedback. Put this motto somewhere visible, on your desk, on your phone screen, or in your notebook. When you feel stuck, read it aloud. The voice of this motto gradually becomes the voice you trust. Story helps make this real. Maria, a teacher I know, believed she was not good with technology. For years, she avoided using digital tools. Then one year, her school asked her to try a simple online quiz tool. She agreed to a 1-week experiment, 15 minutes a day learning the tool. At first, she made mistakes and felt embarrassed. She told herself, I am slow at this, but I will learn. After 2 weeks, she could create a quiz easily. After a month, she started using the tool to save time. Her inner story changed from I can't handle technology to I can learn when I try. That change opened many more opportunities. Another simple tool is to reframe failure as information. Instead of saying, I failed, after a project, write 3 things you learned and 1 action you will take next time. This habit normalizes learning and reduces shame. Practice also requires small, consistent steps. Set a tiny, specific goal you can do daily or weekly. Perhaps you will practice speaking English for 10 minutes a day, or you will try 1 new problem in a subject each day. Small wins build confidence. They also create a pattern where effort leads to improvement, which strengthens your belief in growth. Another useful strategy is to change how you praise yourself and others. When you accomplish something, focus praise on process and effort. Instead of you are so smart, say you worked hard and tried new strategies. This language reinforces growth. If you are a parent, teacher, or manager, this change in language shapes the people around you too. Finally, give yourself time. Old stories are comfortable. They serve a purpose. They protect you from risk. Changing them takes patience and repetition. Expect setbacks. Notice them, learn, and continue. Your inner story is like a playlist. If you keep pressing play on old tracks, they will stay familiar. But if you choose new tracks, a motto, a small practice, a reframe, the new sound will become more familiar and more comfortable. This chapter gives you a pathway. Listen to your thoughts, question them, reframe them, act with small practices, and repeat. Over time, these steps change not only your choices but your sense of identity. You move from someone who is limited by past experiences to someone who actively learns and grows. Next, we will look at how to face challenges, not avoid them, and why that choice matters. Chapter 4. Embracing challenges as opportunities. One of the defining features of a growth mindset is the willingness to face challenges. Challenges are not distractions or proofs of weakness. They are the raw material of growth. When you embrace a difficult task, you put yourself in a place where learning is possible. Challenges stretch your skills and bring new information about what you know and what you need to learn. Think of a challenge like a muscle-building exercise for your character and skill. When you lift weights, you cause tiny stress to your muscles. The recovery process makes them stronger. Learning is similar. When you challenge your brain with something it cannot do yet, you create a chance for new neural connections to form. If you always choose easy tasks, you do not encourage this growth. Facing challenge does not mean being reckless. It means choosing tasks that are just beyond your current ability, hard enough to push you, but not so hard that you are overwhelmed. This sweet spot is sometimes called the learning zone. Outside of it are two other zones: the comfort zone, where skills do not grow, and the panic zone, where anxiety shuts down learning. The key is to find the middle ground where effort meets possibility. Real people make this choice every day. Consider a young entrepreneur who launches a small online store. The first months are difficult. Sales are slow, systems break, and mistakes happen. Some people quit early, telling themselves they were not cut out for business. Others treat each problem like a lesson, adjusting pricing, improving the website, and talking more with customers. Those who stay in the learning zone gradually build a better business. The entrepreneur's mindset makes the difference. You can practice leaning into challenges in small, safe ways. Choose a task that you find hard and set one short, concrete experiment. For example, if you feel shy about speaking in meetings, set a goal to say one short idea in the next meeting. Before you speak, prepare one sentence you can share. After the meeting, reflect on what happened and what you might try next time. This small step helps you get comfortable with the sensation of risk and then learn from it. An important part of embracing challenges is reframing fear. Fear often shows up as a signal that something matters. Instead of letting fear stop you, ask, "What can I learn if I try this?" This question shifts your focus from threat to information. It also reduces the personal meaning of failure. If the goal is learning, then failure is feedback rather than a verdict. Another practical approach is to use the experiment mindset. Treat each challenge like a short experiment with a clear hypothesis, a test, and an evaluation. For example, suppose you want to learn a new software program. Your experiment might be, if I spend 20 minutes a day on this program for 1 week, I will be able to complete a basic task independently. At the end of the week, assess what worked and what did not. This scientific approach makes learning manageable and less emotional. Stories help ground this idea. Consider the story of a musician who learned a difficult concerto. At first, the piece sounded impossible. She practiced slowly, in small sections, and recorded herself. Each week she identified the hardest spots and focused on them. She did not try to master the entire piece at once. Over months, the concerto became manageable. Her success came from embracing the challenge in small, steady steps. If you struggle to find challenges, create them. Set a time-limited goal that pushes you slightly. The time limit removes indefinite pressure. It makes the challenge more like an experiment and less like a life-altering gamble. For example, commit to 1 month of focused study or practice. After the month, you can decide to continue or revise your approach based on what you learned. Finally, remember that embracing challenges is a social skill too. Seek people who model this mindset. Talk with friends or colleagues about the experiments you are trying. Share setbacks and lessons. A supportive environment makes it easier to try new things and to interpret failure as feedback. Choosing challenges is a daily practice. Each time you take a step beyond your comfort zone, you teach your brain and your emotions that learning is possible. Over time, the habit of embracing challenges becomes part of who you are. Next, we will discuss how to learn well from mistakes and feedback, an essential part of turning challenges into real growth. Chapter 5. Learning from mistakes and feedback. Mistakes are not just signs that something is wrong. They are the direction signs, showing where to improve. If you want to grow, learning from mistakes and feedback is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It requires 3 things: separation of identity from performance, curiosity to explore what went wrong, and a plan to take action. First, separate your identity from your performance. This is a delicate but crucial idea. When you hear criticism or see a poor result, do not let your sense of self shrink. Instead, look at the outcome as data. For example, if your presentation did not go well, the result is not you are a failure. It is information about preparation, clarity, or timing. When you separate the person from the performance, you protect your motivation and make learning possible. Curiosity is the second step. Approach mistakes like a detective. Ask specific, neutral questions. What did I try? What happened? What was unexpected? What other factors affected the result? Avoid blaming yourself or others without evidence. The more specific your questions, the more useful the answers. Specific feedback is far more helpful than general praise or criticism. If someone gives you feedback, welcome it as information rather than as an attack. Many people avoid feedback because it feels personal. But feedback is a shortcut to someone else's perspective. If you can slow down and ask clarifying questions, you will learn faster. Simple questions include, can you give an example? Or what would you have done differently? These follow-ups convert a vague comment into useful, actionable steps. A real-life example makes this clearer. A software engineer once told me about a bug that caused a product feature to fail for users. At first he felt embarrassed and defensive, but he chose curiosity. He logged the error, traced the code pathway, and asked teammates for ideas. They found a pattern he missed. A rare user input triggered the error. By changing one small part of the code and adding a test case, he fixed the issue and prevented future problems. His reaction shifted his credibility. He became known as someone who investigated deeply and learned quickly. Mistakes also teach empathy. When you see your own errors, you become less likely to harshly judge others and more likely to give helpful feedback. This social benefit improves teams and relationships. When people practice learning from mistakes together, the whole group improves faster. After you analyze a mistake, decide on one clear action to try next. This action should be specific, measurable, and small enough to test quickly. For instance, if a sales pitch did not work, you might try changing the opening question in the next meeting. After the meeting, reflect on what changed. Small tests compound over time. Another practical tool is to use feedback loops. This is simply a habit of asking for feedback regularly and then applying it. At work, schedule a short check-in with a colleague after completing a task. Ask 1 or 2 focused questions. What worked? What would you change? Use the answers to set your next small goal. In personal life, ask a friend how a conversation came across and what you could do differently. Breathing space matters too. When feedback triggers strong emotions, pause. Take a few deep breaths, step back, and delay your response until you can think clearly. Emotions narrow attention and can make you defensive. A brief pause allows your curiosity to return. Finally, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself as you would treat a friend who is learning. Harsh criticism dampens motivation. Kindness and realistic encouragement encourage persistence. Saying something like, "This was tough, but I learned one useful thing that I can try next," will keep you moving forward. Learning from mistakes and feedback is the engine of growth. It moves you from repeating old patterns to building new skills. Over time, the habit of investigation and small action makes you more resourceful and more confident. In the next chapter, we will explore the role of effort, deliberate practice, and smart strategies in turning work into real improvement. Chapter 6. The Power of Effort and smart practice. Effort alone does not guarantee improvement, but effort guided by clear practice and feedback leads to skill. Many people think working more hours equals learning more. That is partly true, but only if your effort is focused. Deliberate practice means working on specific parts of a skill with intention, getting feedback, and adjusting. This type of practice produces steady improvement. Think about learning an instrument. Playing the same piece from start to finish for hours is not the same as isolating a hard passage and practicing it slowly until it becomes smooth. In sports, athletes do drills that focus on weak points, not just playing the whole game. The same applies to learning languages, coding, public speaking, or leadership. The secret is to break the skill into smaller components and work on the hardest parts. Structure your practice with 3 elements: focus, feedback, and reflection. Focus means choosing one clear goal for the practice session. For example, if you are learning English pronunciation, you might focus on the th sound for 20 minutes. Feedback can come from a teacher, a language partner, a recording, or a checklist. Reflection means thinking about what worked and what you will try next time. Time matters too. Short, intense sessions beat long, unfocused ones. The brain learns well in blocks of focused attention followed by rest. Many professionals use the Pomodoro method. Work for 25 minutes, rest for 5. You can adjust this to what fits you. Regular short sessions maintain energy and prevent burnout. Another idea is to practice the edge. Push just beyond what you can do comfortably. This small stretch triggers real growth. If you always stay within comfort, you do not build new ability. If you jump too far into panic or overwhelm, learning shuts down. Find the edge, practice there, and step back when you need to recover. Real stories show this path. A public speaker I know had a habit of reading speeches word for word. She worked with a coach who asked her to practice speaking with only a few notes. At first, she stumbled and felt exposed. With repeated, focused practice on short sections, opening sentences, transitions, closing, she developed confidence and presence. Her improvement came from effort that targeted the exact skills she needed. Effort also includes learning how to rest. Recovery is not a sign of weakness. Sleep, breaks, and a change of scene help consolidate learning. The brain stores and strengthens new patterns during rest. Athletes, musicians, and scholars all rely on cycles of work and recovery to perform their best. You can create a 4-week practice plan for any skill. Week 1. Choose one small, specific goal and practice 5 times that week with focused sessions. Week 2. Add a feedback source. Record yourself, ask a peer, or use an app. Week 3. Increase the challenge slightly, pushing to the next edge. Week 4. Evaluate progress and set a new small goal. This plan is simple but powerful. It turns vague intentions into a repeatable routine. Mindset language matters during practice. Swap "I tried and failed" for "I tried and learned." Replace "I'm not talented" with "I am practicing the skills I need." The words you use while practicing shape your mood and persistence. Finally, celebrate small wins. Every small improvement is evidence that your method works. Notice them, name them, and let them motivate you for the next step. Effort combined with smart practice is not glamorous. It is slow and steady, but it is also the most reliable route to real improvement. In the next chapter, we will talk about resilience, how to manage emotions and stay motivated through setbacks. Chapter 7. Building resilience and emotional strength. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficulties. If growth mindset is about believing you can improve, resilience is about sticking with that belief when it feels hard. Emotional strength does not mean ignoring pain. It means noticing emotions, accepting them, and moving forward with purpose. Building resilience is a skill you can practice, just like any other. Begin with awareness. When you face a setback, notice the emotions that arise. Are you angry, ashamed, anxious, or tired. Name the emotion simply. I feel anxious. Naming helps reduce the intensity. It gives you a small distance to choose your next action rather than react automatically. Self-compassion is the second tool. When you make a mistake, speak kindly to yourself. Imagine how you would support a friend in the same situation. You might say, "This was hard. You tried. What can you learn?" Self-compassion does not excuse poor choices, but it does preserve motivation. People who practice self-compassion recover faster and try again more often. Another practical skill is cognitive reframing. This means changing how you interpret events. For example, instead of seeing a setback as proof of incompetence, see it as a signal to change strategy. If you did not get a promotion, ask, what specific skills would I need to develop to be a strong candidate next time? Reframing turns problems into projects. Routine supports resilience. Small daily habits, sleep, movement, and mindful pauses help regulate mood and energy. When you are well rested and calm, challenges feel more manageable. A short morning routine might include a few minutes of stretching, a quick planning session, and a simple breathing exercise. These acts build a stable foundation for facing stress. Use social support. Resilience is not a solitary task. Share setbacks with trusted people. Talking reduces isolation and often brings useful perspective. If you are nervous before a presentation, rehearse with a friend and ask for one piece of feedback. The support of others makes recovery faster and more effective. A helpful technique during tough moments is to create a coping plan. Identify 3 steps you will use when things go wrong. For example, 1. Pause and breathe for 1 minute. 2. Name one fact about the situation that is true and neutrally descriptive. 3. Choose one small action you can take now. Having this plan practiced in calm moments makes it easier to use when you are stressed. Many resilient people also practice gratitude. Not to ignore pain, but to balance perspective. Writing one short note of gratitude each evening helps keep your long-term view healthy. Gratitude does not erase problems, but it reduces the overall weight of stress. Stories show how resilience works in practice. An athlete who suffers an injury often faces months of recovery. The mental work, accepting the setback, following a rehab plan, and celebrating small gains determines the quality of the comeback. The athlete who becomes bitter or impatient often slows recovery. The one who follows the plan and adapts tends to return stronger and wiser. Finally, remember that resilience grows with practice. Every time you face a setback and choose a learning response, you build mental muscle. The next time you face difficulty, it will feel more manageable because you have new experience to draw on. Resilience is the partner of growth. Believing in growth without the capacity to recover will leave you discouraged. Building emotional strength ensures you can keep trying, learning, and moving forward. In the next chapter, we will look at habits and routines, the small daily choices that compound into major change. Chapter 8: Habits, Routines, and Small Wins. Growth is rarely the result of single, dramatic events. More often, it is the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. Habits and routines are the engines that make growth predictable. When you design your days so that learning is built in, you reduce the need for motivation and you increase results. Start small. The more ambitious your habit, the harder it is to maintain. Instead of study English 2 hours every day, start with 15 minutes. Small habits are easy to do and build momentum. As the habit becomes reliable, you can increase the time or add new habits. Habit stacking is a useful method. Link a new habit to an existing one. For example, after you brush your teeth, open one page of an English book. After your morning coffee, write one paragraph about your goals. This chaining makes the new habit easier to remember and perform. Make habits specific and measurable. Read more is vague. Read one page of an English article every evening is clear. If you can measure it, you can track it. Progress, even small, motivates. Keep a simple log of what you did each day and one thing you noticed. Design your environment to support habits. If you want to practice language, leave a notebook on your desk or set a phone reminder at a regular time. If you want to exercise, keep your shoes and clothes visible. Small changes in the environment reduce friction and make action more likely. Celebrate small wins. When you complete a habit, notice it. Say to yourself, "Good job, I did the practice." Small acknowledgements reinforce the habit loop. Over time, these small win feelings add up to real motivation. A story that illustrates habit power is of a writer who wanted to finish a book. For years, she waited for inspiration. Then she committed to writing 300 words every morning. Some days were easy, some days were slow. But the daily habit created momentum. Weeks became months, and the book emerged. The habit removed the need for perfect mood and replaced waiting with action. Use a feedback cycle for your habits. After 2 weeks, review what worked and what did not. Adjust the habit if needed. Perhaps the time of day is wrong, or the goal is too big. Refining the habit keeps it sustainable. Another practical idea is to create a weekly theme. Choose a focus for 1 week: listening practice, experimentation, or reading. A theme allows you to concentrate effort and learn faster without overloading your schedule. Remember the power of compounding. Saving small amounts of effort each day leads to large improvements over months. A small habit may seem insignificant today, but becomes powerful with time. Trust the process and keep the focus on consistency over intensity. If you lead or work with others, encourage small, shared habits. Teams that celebrate small experiments and share learnings create a culture of growth. For personal life, find an accountability partner. Check in weekly to share one small success and one lesson learned. Habits give your growth mindset a practical home. Belief without systems will fade. Systems without belief can become mechanical. Together, they create a life where learning is normal and progress is steady. Next, we will explore how to create a learning environment, social and physical, that supports growth and curiosity. Chapter 9. Creating a learning environment. The people and spaces around you shape your mindset more than you may realize. A learning environment makes growth easier. It includes the people you spend time with, the culture at your workplace, and the physical spaces where you practice. Small changes in these areas can create powerful momentum. Start with people. Surround yourself with learners. These are people who ask questions, accept feedback, and try new things. Being around learners makes it easier to try new things yourself. If you often hear comments like "That's just how I am," the environment reinforces fixed thinking. If you hear "What can we try next?" the environment pushes towards growth. Choose mentors and peers who give specific, helpful feedback. A mentor who tells you what to change and how to practice makes your learning faster. Peers who share experiments and results help you avoid repeating mistakes. If you cannot find mentors in person, look online. Join communities that share practical tips and celebrate progress rather than only success. Language matters in a learning environment. Praise effort and strategies rather than innate talent. When someone improves, say you worked hard on that and tried new approaches instead of "You're so talented." This type of language reinforces growth and encourages risk-taking. At home, if you are a parent, teacher, or coach, focus your praise on process. Doing so will help others develop the growth mindset too. Physical spaces also matter. Create a place where you can practice without distractions. A small corner with a notebook, a comfortable chair, and a simple schedule can make practice habitual. Keep the tools you need visible and organized. Reducing friction makes it more likely you will follow through. At work, advocate for a culture of experiments. Encourage short tests with clear goals, rapid feedback, and open sharing of results. Teams that accept reasonable failure as part of learning accelerate innovation. If your workplace fears mistakes, propose one small experiment in a safe area to demonstrate how learning can be structured and productive. Another environmental strategy is to make learning visible. Keep a whiteboard or digital note with current experiments, results, and lessons. When others see the process of learning, they are more likely to join. Making progress visible removes the myth that success happens in private and shows that learning is messy and shared. Create rituals that support learning. A weekly reflection meeting with yourself or a group can be powerful. Spend 20 minutes each Friday reviewing what you tried, what you learned, and what to do next. These rituals turn random attempts into a system of continuous improvement. Use accountability thoughtfully. An accountability partner can help you keep a commitment for a set period. The partner checks in, asks questions, and offers support. Choose someone who will be constructive and consistent. Accountability works best when it is kind and focused on learning, not shaming. Finally, be willing to change the environment if it does not support you. Sometimes moving to a different team, a new friend group, or a new schedule is the healthiest step. Growth requires resources, time, attention, and emotional safety. Protect those resources by choosing environments that nourish learning. Creating a learning environment is not about perfection. It is about creating more moments that encourage curiosity, practice, and honest feedback. Small shifts in language, people, and space make a big difference over time. In the final chapter, we will bring these ideas together and talk about how to live a growth mindset every day. By now, you have learned many pieces of a growth mindset: the belief that abilities can grow, the science of neuroplasticity, ways to reframe your inner story, how to embrace challenges, learn from mistakes, practice deliberately, build resilience, create habits, and shape your environment. The final step is integration, making these ideas part of daily life so they become stable and natural. Integration begins with routines. Choose one small daily routine that supports growth and stick with it for 30 days. This might be practicing a skill for 15 minutes each morning, writing one short reflection each evening, or asking one colleague for feedback each week. Make the routine simple and measurable. After 30 days, the habit will feel more natural, and you can add another. Teaching others accelerates your growth. When you explain ideas to someone else, you clarify them for yourself. Teach a friend one thing you learned about growth mindset. Ask them to try a simple experiment and report back. Teaching creates social accountability and deepens your understanding. Language is a daily tool. Use growth language aloud. Not yet. What can I learn? How might I improve? These phrases become mental shortcuts. If you are a parent or a manager, model this language for others. Children and colleagues mimic the verbal cues they hear, so your words matter. Track progress in a simple, encouraging way. Keep a learning log with one line per day: what you tried, what you learned, and one next step. The log acts as a map of progress and a reminder that growth is slow and cumulative. On tough days, reading past entries will show how far you have come. Expect plateaus and cycles. Growth is not a straight line. There will be days of rapid improvement and times of stagnation. Anticipate these cycles and plan for them. During a plateau, switch focus, review fundamentals, vary practice, or rest. Using cycles makes it easier to maintain long-term effort without losing motivation. Celebrate progress and reframe success. Success is not only an outcome, but also the process of learning. When you reach a goal, ask, what went well? What lessons did I use? What will I try next? This reflection turns success into a step for future growth rather than a final destination. Teach the mindset by example. If you lead a team or raise children, model learning behavior. Share your experiments, your mistakes, and your small wins. When others see you handle setbacks with curiosity and care, they learn to do the same. This modeling creates a ripple effect of growth around you. Sustainability matters. Growth mindset is not a sprint. It is a way of living. Keep your practices small, consistent, and connected to meaningful goals. When your actions are aligned with your values, whether it is learning English, building a career, or improving relationships, you will sustain effort more easily. If you feel stuck, return to the basics. Revisit Chapter 3's steps. Listen to your inner story, question it, and reframe it. Reconnect with a small habit from Chapter 8. Seek feedback as in Chapter 5, and use the coping strategies from Chapter 7. These simple moves recalibrate your path without needing a radical reset. A final story to bring this home. An older student I knew decided to learn a new language. At first, she struggled and felt slow. She made a plan. 15 minutes per day, weekly conversation with a partner, and monthly reflection notes. She also invited a friend to learn with her. Over 2 years, she reached a level she had never imagined. The real secret was not genius or a special method. It was daily choices, small actions, and steady belief that she could improve. Her life changed, not only in skill, but in confidence and openness to new things. You can start today. Choose one small action from this video. Practice it for 1 week. Note what changes. Share your learning with a friend or in the comments below. Growth happens in steps. Make one step now. You have learned what a growth mindset is, how your brain supports learning, and how to change your inner story. You have tools to face challenges, learn from feedback, practice deliberately, build resilience, and design habits and environments that support growth. The path is simple, but not always easy. It asks for patience, curiosity, and steady action. Believe in your ability to grow, and then show it through daily choices. Small, consistent steps beat large, dramatic bursts. Every experiment, every failure, and every small win moves you forward. Keep a curious heart and a patient mind. If this video helped you, subscribe to BetterSelf for more lessons that combine personal growth with clear English practice. Share this video with someone who could use a reminder that growth is possible. Thank you for watching. And remember, you may not be there yet, but you can get there one small step at a time.